esteemed participants. Each other's roles, we take charge. It's about accountability for inmates with this issue. We've established institutional mechanisms. You will see right at the bottom, it comprises work streams, localities at a district level. If you look at it, Chair, you can see they will be reporting to the GBVF secretary. We want the premiers to take charge. If you look right above on the far right, and we also want cabinet to take charge. Symbiotic relationship. The far left, the yellow one, the dark, so that it gets fed up there to the IMC and roughly to the MinMax. The various MinMax, we the item, ministers and MECs will not engage on the subject matter, will not talk about political accountability, and we are trying to strengthen intergovernment. Share the slide, but we will share the detail. You will have how we, which is an advantage for us. Here, we are talking that SALGA should emphasize environmental design, take responsibility for cutting long grass, demolishing unused buildings because they become a safe haven for criminals, making sure that there's adequate street lighting and community patrols, making sure that SEPs can look into the issue of self-defense. I remember when I was in Gauteng, I had a situation where I trained girls in the schools on self-defense program. Let us not trivialize the issue of self-defense. Addressing the incidents of liquor and substance abuse by social development, and also dealing with issues of public awareness, as well as making sure that we have a program for 365 days. All the relevant departments are going to play part in working with us and making sure that in the end, no pillar of this strategy is not implemented. Now, SADTU should note the institutional arrangements for dealing with gender-based violence as a pandemic. We are proposing as well, we are engaging with them, that small business and social development should actually facilitate the massification of cooperatives, the very cooperatives for school uniform, for shoes, for everything, so that in the end, when tenders are issued by government departments, they don't have to argue and say, where are the women? The women should be well poised and be readily available to respond and tender and compete with the big conglomerates. We are saying a developmental targeted approach is required in terms of procurement. All government departments should actually procure from these indigent women. And we must push for that kind of thinking in the way that we are doing the work. We must revisit the indigent register, make sure that there is skills audit of those people, build their skills, build their capacity, and help them to set up the cooperatives. We must make sure that there is a way of raising funds through the private sector funding that we are supporting, but that the private sector funds should be redirected to the rural communities because those are the hardest hit. And once we target those, some of them will be struggling and emerging, but what is it that we are going to do to make sure that there is a supporting kind of an organization to the work that they're doing, like intermediaries, because you can't take an ordinary mama in the rural area who has never dealt with money and all of that and say, run on your own. So we will attach them to an intermediary so that they are supported. We are requesting that all DGs should support the premiers and lead MECs and work with COCTA in making sure that this issue is being dealt with. We intend reporting, as we are also reporting, on a quarterly basis to the president, but we are reporting on a monthly basis to all the director generals of all the clusters, the economic, the social, the governance, as well as the criminal justice cluster, where we tell them how well and how bad or good are they doing, and they give us recommendations. Chairperson, I've come to the end of my presentation. I was just trying to make sure that I still use my 20 minutes in a very meaningful manner, but I'm available for questions and for comments. We are appealing that you come on board, you partner with us, you are a critical partner in tackling or dealing with GBV as a pandemic within our societies and within the wards. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, DG, for your presentation. And I'm going to invite questions for clarity from the floor. Comrades, if you have questions, this is your time. The message was clear. Thank you very much. And thank you again.
Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Yeah, thank you for your time. You can be released and go to church.
No, thank you. There's no church. I'm going to work. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah, comrades, We are going to call Satu Sako, if they are available. Just a 10 minutes presentation. If they are not, okay. But if they are not ready, maybe a GS. Okay. Are you coming? Yeah, no, she's coming. Come, comrade. Yeah, come, comrade.
Amandla, I was looking for Comrade Neo from Gauteng to introduce the MD. However, I'm going to do it shortly. Zasengweni, cela ume la. Comrades, this is Zasengweni. Ngema. Kamala Siyosubani? Prosperity. She is our new managing director of Satu Sako. We thought we must formally introduce her to the leadership because here we have NEC, we have PECs, we have some REC members in the form of regional chairpersons and secretaries. You will know that when Satu Sako was launched, the MD was Comrade Usomahash, Comrade Sihle, who is also our national accountant. But as Satu Sako grows and it is becoming bigger, within at the level of ESCO and the board, and even in fact it was a suggestion by Usomahash himself, to say it's high time that we then move to the second phase of appointing a full-time MD, somebody who's going to manage our SACCO on full-time basis from 8 to 5. We then had to advertise the position, and then the Committee on Human Resource then recommended for her appointment. Then the board of SACCO appointed her. Unfortunately, I don't have her credentials here, but she has a vast experience working with cooperatives. At some point, she was an independent consultant assisting cooperatives, particularly in the banking sector, to actually find their way and be able to move forward. She started on the 15th of January. She started on the 15th of January this year, so she's been with us for a short time, but she has been doing a very good work, a very wonderful work at the level of Satu Sako. So we thought we must just introduce her formally to you as the leadership so that you know her, and she's going to make a presentation of about 10 or 5 minutes about Satu Sako and stuff like that. Thank you very much, leadership.
Morning, comrades. All protocol observed. I'm not sure who's in the building. As Uchairperson has introduced me, Nguzase Wagwangema from KZN. I'm the new managing director for Satu Sako. Apologies for not having a flighted presentation. I think my communication with Unobala was, there's a standard presentation that is on the agenda, and then I will just use that one. But I will just give a brief overview. I believe members are aware of Satu Sako. Satu Sako is a savings and credit cooperative. It is currently just a cooperative financial institution, and as the slogan says, your future cooperative bank, the aim is to graduate to being a cooperative bank with the Reserve Bank in the near future. We currently have 2 savings products with the SACCO. So when you join the SACCO, you complete a membership form. I'm just going to try to be brief. You complete a membership form, and on the membership form, you just provide your personal details. And we just ask that when members complete the forms, please make it as eligible as possible, because it makes it difficult to get correct details if there's missing information or we can't read what you've put on there. And please ensure you've put your correct contact details, you've put your beneficiaries, because should something happen to you, we need to be able to locate who we can give your funds to, because we can't just give it to anybody. And then when you've completed your application form, please as well submit your supporting documents, which would be your ID and your proof of residence. I know sometimes we meet members in a setup like this, and it's not possible for them to give us their documents immediately, but please, when you get back to work, can you scan those documents and send them to us? But we are in the process of doing our FICA process in the office, and Dineo will be contacting the current members to please supply us with those documents in this week. So you put in those supporting documents, and then for you to be a member, there's a 300 Rand that you need to pay upfront for membership. And it is split between a 200 Rand, which is your share contribution. This is how you buy your membership into the organization. So this is what gives you now the right to participate in the governance of the organization. Now you have a say in the organization and you can be able to contribute. And then the 100 Rand is admin fees. It's a joining fee. It's not refundable. The 200 Rand, you can be able to get it if and when you decide you no longer want to be part of the organization, and we hope we never get to that stage with you. As long as you are a SATU member or you are an affiliate with SATU, you are eligible to join the SACCO and be a member. And then when you are now a member and you have paid your first 300 Rand, you decide how much you want to save with the organization depending on your affordability. So this is where you sit down and say, this is what I want to save for, and this is how much I'm going to need at the end of the year. Therefore, I should make this much contribution monthly. And then on the form you indicate, I want the regular savings product and I'll be saving 200 Rand per month. I want the Christmas savings product and I'll be saving 300 Rand per month. I'm making an example. But please note, members, I'm noting a lot of confusion. The primary product that you need to take is the regular savings. You cannot have the credit with the Christmas without having the regular one. Okay, you can have the regular on its own, but you cannot have the Christmas on its own. If you want to add the Christmas, it will be an additional product to the regular one. So I hope that one is clear, members. And then when you are now saving on those products, the first regular one attracts an interest of 5%. So whatever you put in there will attract 5% interest per annum. And then the Christmas savings will attract 6% interest per annum. With the regular savings, you can withdraw anytime during the year, but you are only allowed one withdrawal per month. And then with the Christmas, as the name dictates, you can only withdraw once a year, and this is around December time, but we allow withdrawals from around November, December, and January as well. But it's only once a year you can tap into those savings. So those are currently our 2 primary savings products. But as I said, you are the members. This is your organization, so you influence the products that we give. So please do write to us, do call us if you have suggestions of other products that you would like us to add on our current products list. And then we have credit products. Currently we have the emergency loan, which ranges from 500 Rand to 5,000 Rand. And it's got an interest of 4% per annum. So all members have access to this one. And then in 2023, there was a short-term product that was introduced, but this one is currently open to members of staff that are on salary deduction. But we will communicate with members when we have finalized our DebiCheck product, and then we will make the short-term product, which then goes up to 15,000, and then we'll roll it out to all the other members. So we are working on that one. Once the DebiCheck system is in place, then we will be able to roll it out to all the other members. So in short, members, we are just asking those of you that are not members yet, please join our family, and you will see the benefits of being part of the SACCO, and you will be able to have better control of your money. And another benefit of being part of the SACCO is we have financial literacy trainings, so we will be able to put you through trainings that will be able to assist you with handling your money, doing your household budgets. So you will gain a lot besides just putting your money within the SACCO. You will gain a lot if you join the SACCO, and you'll also be exposed through the governance structures of the SACCO, and you'll also just get to know how it feels to be part of a bank, and we would like to travel this journey with you to being a cooperative bank. So currently we're sitting with just over 2,000 members, and we know that SATU members, the number is way far from, for now, the SACCO membership is just a drop in the ocean in terms of the SATU membership. So we plead with you members to join the SACCO, and this is the type of organization that thrives with numbers. And we know that as much as if we can have a lot of members in the organization, we'll be able to give more products, we'll be able to use economies of scale and be able to negotiate far better products and far better rates for you in the future. Thank you, members. I don't know if there's any questions, Chair.
Thank you, comrades. In the interest of time, comrades, we will not open questions, but she is around outside, I believe, the judges here. If you have got questions, please just go one by one and ask questions so that you are clarified. But we believe that in here, I don't think there is one who is not a member, because there's an NEC decision that this must start with us as leaders. How are you going to recruit members if you are not a member? So if you are not a member by mistake, and I'm repeating it by mistake, it must be by mistake, just go out and join. And we really appreciate the clarity given so that when we go into our meetings, we'll be able to explain to our members and encourage them to join. So we are going to request for a slogan as we are ushering the GS to come and make a presentation from the commissions. Can we get...
Uteni makunjeje, Uteni makunjenje. 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 Uteni makunjenje.
Recording in
Uteni
progress.
makunjenje. Uteni 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 makunjenje. Wah. Thina siyabuza thina sibuzo abafazi Uteni makunjenje, uteni makunjenje, Kutheni makunjeje. 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 Amandla. Ewe sinemibuzo. Kutheni makunje. Mdula Stulo ke a leboha, Baya Danki. Thank you so much. Good morning on a Sunday morning. There was a church song as well. I call it a gospel song this morning where my friend Gwen was leading, and then I was also in the spirit. So, but I didn't want to tell people things. So we are going to have peace in this conference because there's no breaking news here. There's nothing new, basically, nothing new. We know. Yes, we approached yesterday knowingly. So let's have peace in this conference. Right, comrades, we are aware of the time. Comrade Chairperson, we thank you this morning, and we will do our best to, on behalf of the National Executive Committee, present the recommendations. These are recommendations, and they will then be presented to the National Executive Committee to interrogate and obviously debate and then adopt the recommendations with those particular amendments that may be there, because nothing is final from any of this conference except what is final is the NGC. The NGC can take decisions, and the National Congress can also take decisions because those structures are provided with those particular powers and competencies to be able to do so. But any other workshop or a conference make recommendations to the National Executive Committee to deliberate on as provided for in the Constitution as one of those particular structures that is the highest decision-making body between conferences and congresses. So we must not be surprised why we are not presenting a declaration. It is only that when programs are done, we always have these standard universal program at the end of the day. So the declaration will come out of the National Executive Committee after having deliberated on these particular issues. We can rest assured that we shall deliberate on this coming NEC, which is beginning on Friday to Saturday, so that we are then able to draw a program out of these particular recommendations and decisions that shall have been made by the National Executive Committee. So I will not waste time, except that I need to remind you of what Frantz Fanon said when he asserted that each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it in relative opacity. So just to remind ourselves, we are a generation that must end gender-based violence. We are a generation that must stop violence in our school. We have that mission, and we cannot fail in that particular mission. We must be able to end this particular scourge of violence. We must restore the dignity of everyone in our society and so forth. But let me also remind you, as I'm representing my friend Gwen here as a pastor, but I'm not a pastor DGS. When Martin Luther King Jr. also asserted that the function of education is to think intensively and to think critically, so that he then defines intelligence plus character. That is what he meant by education. So you build the character of a person by making sure that they think intensively and critically. So it's a challenge to all of us. If you're sitting here and we want to return our country to apartheid rulers, something is wrong with how we think. If we even begin to say that can happen, and then we say that we are returning the country to apartheid rulers who colonized us, who stole basically everything that we are supposed to be having in this country. So it's very, very critical, because the goal of education, therefore, is to make people to think and think intensively and think critically in order to solve our problems. So problem solving is what basically we are supposed to be seated here as a conference and say, there is a problem, we're solving the problem. So Commission 1, quickly, we try to change because the people sitting in the back were not able to see, so we then use the color yellow, which is what is accepted in terms of helping even those who have got sight impairment, partial blindness and so forth. They are able to read the yellow on black background. So we're trying to assist those who are at the back to also see. So I will be moving. The first commission basically is about the practical approaches on school safety, dealing with bullying, alcohol and drug dependency, and the implication of the Bella Bill, where we are realizing our campaign, I'm a school fan. So again, it was not written by me and the DGS, that's why you see repetition, dealing with bullying and with bullying. You must know it was not done by us. We are reading what was done by others because we would have done better. We don't repeat, we do our thing. So first is that we need to create a safe school. There is a noting part of it, and then I will not read the noting because this is what is practically there. This is what we are noting, and I will then read the recommendation, Comrade William, if you can go to the recommendation, because that is what is going to dictate the action that the NEC must deliberate on. Thank you so much. So we are recommending our curriculum should talk to safety. We should have a subject dealing with school safety. You can see when the NEC is going to debate this, it can't repeat the two, right? Because we're talking about action. So what action are we going to take? The second is a qualification of an action. So we have to go and make sure that we clean them so that we then, what are we doing? What are we going to do? And so forth. The second one is start to shoot campaign for the lifting of austerity measures so that schools can employ proper security personnel. Okay, don't worry about the employer. It was a computer, not people, that did that. So the third one, schools should be open to communities so that they can take ownership. We're going back to who we are. We said SADTU is not a craft union. It's not a workerist union. When the issues are affecting the community that we work in, we must be there. If there is a natural disaster in Eastern Cape, in Free State, and anywhere else, what do? We come to you and say, let's mobilize support. Let's make sure that people are clothed. Let's make sure that the people are fed. And you have performed very well, comrades, I must indicate. When in KZN we had the disaster, you have really done very well. And that is SADTU, and that's who we are. So that is speaking to us. We need to be open to our communities. Employment of more SAPS members in order for the adopt a CORP strategy to be more effective. Then the Department of Education should have a budget set aside for security. That is what is being recommended. And the next page is that mobilize former learners, alumni to support their school, make sport compulsory in our schools, but the coaches should be vetted. Of course, they must be vetted because we also don't want to subject our children to sex pests who basically are not supposed to be members of our union. In other words, in our union, when we look inwardly, we must never find a sex pest. No, we must not, because that person is first and foremost undermining our code of conduct. The DGS was presenting the code of conduct yesterday. If you didn't see it, then it means you were not inside. But it's here, you cannot have a sexual relationship with a learner. You cannot. So how did it come that you are a member of SADTU? How do we accept you? And I hear every time people fighting us. We have to represent these people. We have to represent these people. when did you recruit them? And why did you recruit them? First, we must ask ourselves that question. Because the Code of Conduct says you can't be a member of SADU when you engage in sexual relationship with learners. It's a code of conduct. For God's sake, it is what makes a contract between me and SADU. If I cannot honor it, I don't have a contract. All right? So it's very clear, comrade, let's stop fighting amongst ourselves and dividing the union about, no, they don't want to represent this. We're not representing them because they're not our members. They are not our members. So let them change, and so that they can become proper members of SADU. We'll vet them as coaches. The department should employ proper security personnel in our school. You can see its reputation. All schools be provided with 24-hour security. We'll have to build a proper policy around that. Stricter measures be taken on learner-to-teacher violence. And SGBs need to have a proper induction so that they understand their roles. And they must stop stealing the money of the school as members of the SGBs. Because today they only come to our schools because they want to fight for the tenders of the school. And we can't build schools that are safe when we also have criminals amongst us who want to steal the money. So we can't. We need to vet them as well. They must be vetted. Because if we vet the teachers through this police station, where we are vetting, we need to vet these assistants that are coming to our schools so that our schools can be safe. So we must also move that we must vet those who are parents in our schools, because how do we then encourage criminals in our schools? They undermine us, they undermine the principal, and then they make us to fight amongst ourselves. Commission 2, corporal punishment. We have the noting, and we have the believing, and we have policies around that, comrades, around corporal punishment. We have the law that basically is supposed to be covered under noting, because the law prohibits these particular things. So we go to the recommendation, Comrade William, where we are saying government must give workable alternatives to corporal punishment, okay? The DBE, in collaboration with our union, must develop alternatives to corporal punishment. Right? Then schools should be innovative on alternative forms of punishment. We will rework when we are in the NEC to make sure that the policy is very clear around what we are demanding. On bullying, the next page. We have a noting, we have a believing, and therefore we are recommending as follows. Employment of communities to monitor learners during break. Standardized, legally compliant school safety policy. Functional school safety committee that involves community members. Schools should develop anti-bullying policies and programs. Reduce bullying by encouraging open communication. Reduce bullying by engaging parents. So these are what needs to be done. The next one is I'm a School Fair, where we are noting the campaign and the recommendation on the next page, sir, that SADU should continue with the I Am School Fan campaign. Members should be inducted about the campaign. SADU members should intensify advocacy of the campaign. Identify days where we can communicate with stakeholders at school level. The site steward should report at branch meetings. Of course, can we have branch meetings at least? Can we have functional branches, Comrade Chairperson, where we can present financial report as the BEC? They must take place. Are they taking place? We'll come to that, not today. So we go into the next one. The induction of learners. They should commit themselves, urge them to read their pledge in front of everyone during assembly, take the campaign to communities, incorporate I Am a School Fan campaign with school safety committees at the school level. On quality learning and teaching, we have a noting, we have a believing, and therefore we are recommending as follows, because that's very critical. The union should put pressure on the employer to revive the QLTC. Employer should be pressured to call on all stakeholders and give reports to QLTC on a quarterly basis. Site stewards should report on QLTC to the union. Employer must come up with a tool to monitor QLTC. The tool must be designed at the level of the province. This is where I have. If it's not complete, it's not me, it's Kanye. Are we done, Kanye? That's what we have. Right? They're just shaking. Shut up. Commission 5, I'm told, is missing. Otherwise, this is the work that has been done. As I said, this work will then be presented to the National Executive Committee, cleaning and debating, amending, and making sure that the policy is very clear. Don't change anything, just put it there as Commission 5. At 12 o'clock, there are provinces that are leaving, Eastern Cape and Western Cape, so we're trying to really save time as much as we can. We have to save time. So where is Commission 5? Is that Commission 5? That is 1. We have already dealt with that one. Okay, the student chapter is what is missing. I don't have it, so. Is this one? Okay, it's on the Convention 190. Let's go to the recommendations. All right. The recommendations are as stated, they're prioritizing the implementation and the integration of the Convention 190 into education curriculum, training workshop for members, the development of policies in line with C190, and introduce awareness. And then lastly, digital campaign in terms of the hashtag. Then there is a monitoring and evaluation in terms of the school community level. The recommendation is very simple, is that should be a well-established and effective monitoring and evaluation system that focus on appropriate, inappropriate relations between learners and teachers. For how long? Student chapter. We recommend consider establishment of a gender subcommittee to focus on the monitoring of the implementation of our own policy decision, including the I Am a School Friend campaign and other policy groups. An incremental increase in the investment of the training of SGBs in policies such as the NSFAS. Oh no, not NSFAS. This is, I don't know what it is, but it's fine. There should be a program to firm up of the school nutritional program that a center should have government departmental integration. I think it's related to that one, that bullet. Right, then Commission 3 is a gender policy. We noting on using those measures, then we recommend as follows. Where are the recommendations? Are these recommendations? Okay, the acronym LGBTI be changed to LGBTQIA+. The NEC will talk about that. I can tell you, if we keep on adding those particular letters and letters, we'll never finish. Honestly, we should leave it at where it's simple, and then you say plus. Because my problem has been that internationally, you will have every time a new thing that you must add. You see, it was LGB first. Then we found that we need to add T. Then we had to add Q, and then we said plus. So we end at plus. But the NEC will debate, because you need to be in line with what international practices are, because you will not be able to add everything in terms of the intersectionalities that are found within this important subject, okay? That forum of the LGBTIQIA plus to be formed, to deliberate and submit recommendation, okay? Having toilets for other groups, having a forum for persons living with disabilities or with disabilities and so forth. We will talk about that. On the scope and application of our policy, World of Work, we are recommending the following to deal with that. Can we go to the recommendation? All policies must refer to the World of Work to protect employees in all places of work. And then the responsibilities on the placing schools that are plugging our schools, we recommend the following: that a school fan be implemented, that section 11.5 in relation to learners, which is found in our constitution, should read as a safe, affirmative, conducive learning environment. On section 11.6, the word staff room be amended to places of work to comply with our increased scope of membership. On the current laws on sexual violence, including sexual harassment, we recommend the following: that our policy needs to reference these laws in section 5 on policy framework, that our policy must also make reference to C9 190 and of the Code of Conduct, Practice and Elimination. And then, I didn't finish. Okay, so that we see sexual violence in terms of section 10.4 on policy commitment. Then responsiveness to the other issues affecting membership, right? Let's go to the recommendation. That the beefing up the EEA with regard to the representation of women in promotional posts, conducting research into problems and barriers of women in leadership and high turnover of women in position, that they all be removed in all structures in section 10B, 10.2a, because it is not all structures in the Constitution that are 50-50. Work on increasing and improving representation of women by having additional women attending higher structures meeting. Alleged perpetrators will represent the members but not defend, because the presumed perpetrator may litigate the union if they are not represented. We'll go to court about that. Commission 4, inspiring inclusion strategies on leadership empowerment. The recommendations are as follows: that at the National Congress, the Constitution be amended so that 50-50 gender distribution be implemented for top leadership position, and the develop training intervention to further empower women in leadership, hold conferences, seminars, and dialogue session with male and female participants, introduce gender education intervention for all levels to understand and shift cultural practices related to gender, and develop training programs to make stakeholders aware of the ILO Convention C or 190 and harassment at workplace. There should be mentorship program to support gender transformation and leadership position, deal with parochial, patriarchal thinking in workplaces and unions. Prominent women are in leadership position but don't support women empowerment. And create awareness and actively participate and influence decisions in task team. That one of complaining must go to believing instead of being a resolution. Can we resolve by complaining? I mean, we are complaining there. It's not an action. It's not going to help us. So put it in believing. You believe that they are women. Once they're in top position, they don't support the empowerment of the others. You are believing, then you must go and deal with it. But if you put it, I'm not saying do it now. I'm saying simple. It's the same as the 50-50 in all position. Basically, we need to define it when we are at the level of the NEC to then say, what does it mean? 50-50 in top positions and so forth. What does it mean? We'll have to debate it. Does it mean we're no longer going to have a quorum in the meeting? When a particular gender is not in the meeting, then we can't have a quorum, because that 50% of that gender, if it's not in the meeting, for obvious reasons, then we must not have a meeting. So we're trying to build the organization, but at the same time, we're trying to take the organization backward. We must not do it to take the organization backward. I'm just giving an example. If you have a meeting where the chairperson of the province is a woman, and then is in the meeting, and then the secretary of the province is a woman, then we have 50% of women, but we don't have 50% of men in that particular meeting. The meeting can't continue. We don't have a quorum because the quorum is 50-50. It's no longer defined as 50% plus one as a quorum. It's 50-50. We'll debate it in the NEC and we shall assist. I'm saying whilst we want to try and help the organization, let's not take the organization backward. Okay? We may want zebra, what do I call the zebra, Constance? It doesn't work. It's not going to work. We must just research, develop women, they must take positions and lead and so forth. So we'll talk about it in the NEC. I'm just giving those things that we see that are very glaring, that they will give problems at the end of the day. Not that we are against, but we must provide that leadership at the end of the day. It's not good to feel good, we are living here. No, that is what we are going to have when we are not going to have it. The better we know so that we don't go and report things that are not reportable when we arrive at home. So Commission 5, raising awareness on the dangers of sexual offense and strategies to reduce such. We recommend as follows. There should be always common innovative awareness programs in all structures, a recorded message on sexual offenses to members. All members should sign a pledge to stop sexual offenses. There should be a budget for gender portfolios in all the union structures. The union should cascade the gender policy conference to lower structures. All the union members should take ownership of the program, and programs should include LGBTQ+. That is right. Okay. Strategies to reduce learner-teacher education workers relationship. Okay. Then we resolve the union should have a reporting template in place, a link or hotline anonymous to be developed to report on sexual offenses at all structures of the union, speak out on sexual offenses on the union media platform, stop shop stewards training at all levels of the union, make use of SAIS ELRC for road shows in all structures. That was Commission 5. Is that the end? Can I waste more time? No, I can't. People are supposed to be leaving. Chair, I hand over to you. These recommendations will then be presented to the National Executive Committee. We'll work on that. We believe, one, in evidence-based policy formulation, that our policies must also be informed by research. So once we have noted recommendation, we'll also have to conduct research to making sure that once we finalize a policy ready for the Congress in September, that particular policy will be well written, and so that it can then finally be adopted as a policy on the basis that some of the things that are mentioned there, we research them, we find evidence to making sure that they are there. Of course, we have to lament, but obviously lamentation is not policy. It cannot find itself in the policy. When we cry and we fight amongst us, we must do that so that we are always alert, vigilant, and making sure that we are able to have gender equality, gender balance, and then we move forward as an organization. Thank you, Chairperson. I really appreciate the time, and where I have offended you and the members, it is because of leadership. It's not about being popular. It's about being right and righteousness. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, GS. Indeed, it's the responsibility of the leadership to give direction. And the truth sometimes may not be so palatable. But because we are learning in the process, we really appreciate such input to indicate where maybe we were lamenting instead of giving a resolve. But is a learning curve. So comrades, we are going to allow inputs, not another presentation or another attempt to give a view which was supposed to be given in the commission. So if there's an omission that you are noticing, I'm going to start with Commission 1. Members of the Commission, if something is left there, is your chance to add. Very brief. Commission 1. 3, 2, 1, everything is covered. Thank you. Commission 2. Commission 3. Commission 4. Commission 5. Scribers, you have done a very good job. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to give you a chance for clarity-seeking questions. If maybe you are from Commission 5 and you picked up that in Commission 1 there is something that they've raised that you want clarity about, this is the time. And Leona is not a sin if you don't have clarity-seeking question. If you have understood everything, it will be 100%. If our learners can get 83 comma something, why can't we get 100%? But I'm opening, I'm opening for clarity-seeking questions, comrade, without intimidating you. On any commission, I'm not going to go from 1 to 3, anywhere where you think you can ask a question. No questions, thank you, comrades. So these recommendations are going to be presented and be dealt with in the NEC. And I think through your provincial offices, the declaration or the adopted version will be sent to you. So we really thank you very much for the inputs to come up with such a comprehensive resolutions and recommendations for adoption. So without any waste of time, the next item was to be a tea break. And I don't believe that we will go that route, but we, how much can we give the province in this hall? If you can, they can just go themselves and wait, yeah. We are going to give provinces a chance to come up with their priorities. Without going outside, comrades, we can deal with that in this hall, just to group ourselves in different provinces and quickly identify 2 priorities. And Secretariat must present those priorities to the GS. When we come back, we'll be going straight to vote of thanks. We're just about to finish this program. So yeah, 11 o'clock. In fact, I agree we are not coming back because you will be here. 11 o'clock, I'm coming to the podium, and then we call for vote of thanks. So, comrades, in your provinces, just sort yourselves. And I can see Limpopo is somewhere here. Just sit there and come up with your priority. Eastern Cape is here, just like that. Thank you, comrades. Chant and dance after we have concluded everything.
Viva the African National Congress, viva! Greet you, comrades, and Gender Review Policy Conference, which was caused to hide and inspire inclusion. Thank you, Kosatu, Comrade Fuori, for our children, our learners, who have to be protected in various ways there in the country. again here by he will say, which you appreciate, comrades. It is not always easy to with comrades.